তুই গরি গজিলি লখাই তুমি গত তল তল না তুমি গত তল অমৃত নাই ফল অমৃত দে ফল মানে সমস্তে কাইলে বল বলতে রইলাই তেননি সমস্তে কাইলে বল
Plant your dreams in the soil, water them with love. Living in harmony is only natural. What an amazing gift this is, to be conscious and choose to do what's right. We got to stand up for life. Everybody together, together. Time to make it right. Time to make it right.
No more looking back. Times have been dark, but only so we can see the light. Now we've learned together that nature knows best. She's everything we need.
What an amazing gift this is, to be conscious and choose to do what's right.
We got to stand up for life.
Everybody together, together, together.
Time to make it right. Time to make it right.
My name is Kathleen Rogers, and I am president of EarthDay.org. I'm here today to talk about the theme of Earth Day 2022, which is Invest in Our Planet. Our goal is to engage more than 1 billion people, governments, and institutions, along with businesses. And by using Earth Day as a platform, we aim to push aside the barriers that have been erected by the fossil fuel industry and economy and redirect all of our attention to creating a 21st century economy that brings back the healing and health of our planet, protects all of our species, including our own, and provides opportunities for everyone on the planet. People, governments, and businesses all fear change. But the status quo, the way we live today, is changing before our eyes. In building our future, individuals, businesses, entrepreneurs, inventors, and governments each have a unique role. We need to act individually and together.
Very warm welcome to everyone. Good evening, and I'm Vikram. We're broadcasting live from Koirati, Global Peace House, and watching Earth Day 2022, Uniting Together, Inspiring for a Greener Future. We are live and broadcasting from Koirati. The world will be commemorating Earth Day tomorrow, and many of you was thinking, why today? But we thought that let us prepare ourselves so that we can really celebrate that Earth Day. And like every day, we'll be dwelling on facts and figures and witness how our ecology is tipping to a no return point. And this year, we'll call upon to invest in the planet. This is a theme of the actual Earth Day 22. And of course, we can invest if we are not convinced that our little action can make a difference. But the question is, what is an authentic investment that we are called upon to perform? And in this program today, we're going to dwell on this topic, on this subject, because we know that finances and funds are not enough to mitigate climate changes. And there's a dire need to review our lifestyle choices, our way we consume our things, and etc. This is why today we have an array of speakers. And the Brahma Kumaris, we have organized this event, and we'll be discussing on the various perspectives on this topic. So today I'll be your host, and also I'll be looking after the tech things. So that's why I'm looking here and there. And we'll also be inviting the audience for reflective sessions, and we'll have success stories. And of course, we'll try to stay within the time frames that we have given. We have to the speakers. And the Brahma Kumaris is the organizer of this program. And one of the practices at the Brahma Kumaris is to integrate silence in our program. So what I will be asking you all is, let us just observe some moments of silence and let us invoke the Supreme Soul, God, into our event. And let us the healing vibes and the positive vibes really come in this program. So let us all just some nice moments of silence. Thank you. So allow me to join Sister Gayatri, who's also here, to thank all the distinguished speakers who are accepted to be in our program today. So thank you, Sonia. Thank you, Vasan. Thank you, Manoj, and Martin, Krishni, and Maria Paule from Colombia, other part of the world. And yeah, so we'll be starting with our first speaker. So our first speaker is Sister Sonia. And before we really, I'll give the floor to her. You have probably seen the bio of her in our invitation. And of course, this is just a glimpse of what she does, but she's really, I'm her friend, I can say, and we've been in COP conferences, I think 3 times in Paris, in Marrakesh, and in Spain. And really, there is lots of enthusiasm, lots of, that creativity, lots of that and energy that really we have to do something for the environment. And today she gladly accepted to be among us. And I really thank her for her time. She has a very busy schedule, and right after this, she'll be leaving for another program. So without taking much of your time, I'll now pass on the floor to Sister Sonia. Sister Sonia, thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Vikram, for the invitation. And I have also enjoyed being at the climate change conferences together with you. But dear global citizens and all participants and speakers, it's my honor to be part of this program celebrating Earth Day with you. And I'm in Denmark, speaking from Copenhagen, and spring has just started here. So it is an explosion of flowers and leaves and greenery just in a few days. And when we celebrate the Earth Day, we're actually celebrating our own day. As humans, we are totally dependent on Mother Earth. We need air to breathe. We need soil to grow our vegetables and grain in. We need water to drink, the sun, the rain, everything. As souls, we are independent of matter. That's for sure. But in order to live as humans, to communicate, to learn, to share, to be joyful, to experience love, we are totally dependent on matter and Mother Earth. So in that way, we're also celebrating our own day for all living beings. And the history of the Earth Day, which is tomorrow, is very interesting because it started all the way back in 1970. And at this point, it started in America, and a junior senator, Gaylord Nelson, he was very environmentally concerned. And at this point in the 70s, the mainstream of America, they were largely not knowing anything about the environmental concerns and the polluted environment and the risk of human health. So in 1969, there was a massive oil spill in California. And previous to that, there had been a book that you might have heard of that was published in 1962. It's called The Silent Spring by Rachel Carson, and it became a bestseller. So with this bestseller of environmental concern and the oil spill and everything, he had the idea of starting an Earth Day. And at that day in 1970, it was 20 million Americans on the street. It was 10% of the total American population. And today, now many, many years later, we are still celebrating the Earth Day. It's become a global movement, but it is a very powerful story of how one person can make a difference. And as an individual, to make a difference, we need to be well informed, be dedicated, and connected to society, like our senator in Wisconsin. And so for us, it is the same rules. If I want to make a difference, it is my responsibility to keep myself informed, to dedicate both personal, to be dedicated to both personal and global change, and to stay connected with each other and with society. And this, as you mentioned in the video, as the introduction video, the IPCC, the International Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, has just released its 10th report here in early April. And the scientists, they are totally agreeing on that it's now or never to limit our global warming. And we have to do our best to keep under 1.5 degrees global warming. Otherwise, we just have irreversible changes and massive flooding, storms, desertification, and pollution, health problems. It's just never ending. So we just have to do our best to keep under 1.5 degrees global warming. And we have heard this for quite some years. But what was very clear in the latest report was that we got 3 years until 2025 to turn the tendency around. And as I understood, it's only 4 countries in the world who are reducing the emission. All other countries are increasing their pollution. So I have to ask myself, am I ready to cut my own personal consumption by half within 3 years' time? So that's a serious question I'm asking myself at the moment. So I'm asking you the same. And last year I was part of the Brahma Kumaris delegation to the COP26 in Glasgow. And in our Brahma Kumaris Environment Initiative, we have our overall theme is consciousness and climate change. So when I change my consciousness, my action also changes. So we showcase our yogic farming, our renewable energy, etc. But what was specific for Glasgow this time was the visible and tangible increase of climate anxiety. Especially the young people, both within the conference and the civil society, they feel stripped of their future. And some go into depression, some go into anger, and some go into anxiety because of what's happening in the world and because of lack of action. So in this context, it became very apparent to me that inner peace and resilience is more relevant than ever, both to myself as a person, but also to the global change and society change. And a lot of research has been done on inner resilience. What is it that makes one person strong and another person less strong? Is it education? Is it the genes? Is it family? Is it culture? What is it? And some scientists have boiled it down to 3 qualities. And all these 3 qualities are connected to meditation, actually. And the first one is I have to face the truth. I have to look the problem in the eye. I have to be well informed. And that takes courage. And courage can come from meditation. The second one is to have a spiritual framework, a perspective on the world with spiritual values, and which will keep me going when I can't see the solution in the society. I can look into my spirituality. And the last one was the power for innovation and creativity. So when there is no other solution, I need to sort of tap into intuition and creativity, maybe tap into the Supreme Soul to get a new solution. So that's a few words on the inner resilience. And in today's world, having war around the corner here in Europe, we are also reminded about the connection between peace and sustainable development. Because what's happening here in Europe is that many countries, they use the funds set aside for sustainable development. They use it now for warfare and for weapons. So if we all were living peaceful with ourselves and our neighbors and our neighbor country, then we would have no lack of funds for renewable energy, for example, which is very critical at this time to turn the tendency of pollution around. And seeing this maybe for some people a bit darkish future, I need to ask myself, what is my message of hope? How do I keep hopeful? How do I look for a bright future? And this is a very good question. And I think the best answer is within each one of you. In one conference in Paris, we had a meeting with a scientist, and he's always very enthusiastic. So I asked him, what gives you hope? And he said that the technology is scalable, gives him hope. And then I asked our sister Jente, and she said, what gives me hope is that the soul is immortal. And I asked the other members in the team, and one said, what gives me hope is that I can shape the world around me with my power of thoughts. And one gave hope, have hope in dialogue and connection with each other. And I asked myself, what gives me hope? And I think kindness, it's a very strong message of hope to myself. I always find hope when we never let go of being kind and loving to each other. So that's a bit of homework for everyone. And Vikram asked for moments of silence and reflection. So that's maybe something you can reflect on. What gives you hope? And as Vikram said, we have another program here tonight. So I will not be able to stay with you in this conference, in this important program. And whatever questions you have to me, you can always write to Vikram, and I can maybe reply on mail. Otherwise, there are fantastic speakers in this program, and I'm sure they can take all of the questions that might come. But I understand you will have an icebreaker now, and you will talk to each other about the qualities you see in Mother Earth and the quality I see in Mother Earth, which I really appreciate at the moment, is generosity. And we can learn from that to always have extra to share, food or water, but also virtues and powers. And to cooperate with each other also take a lot of generosity. I can be generous when I see others' mistakes and weaknesses and learn to navigate around them. And be generous like Mother Earth. So I say thank you to all of you, and I wish you a really nice program. And I will watch later on YouTube what all the other speakers, and some of them I know very well. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Sister Sonia, for your time and your energy and your hope, because if you're hopeful, then we're all hopeful. And this is why we are here, that, you know, hope is still here. We can still hope for something to happen. And thank you very much. And we'll see you soon in other programs. So thank you for coming to Mauritius virtually.
I would love
yeah.
to. I would
yeah.
love
Hope to see you like physically next time.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Om
That's
Shanti. You're right. Yeah. So now we're moving to our next part of the program. As Sister Sonia just said, we're going to have a little icebreaker. So I'm going to put something in the chat box, and it's a link. And in fact, the question is, like Sister Sonia said, we want to ask you to reflect on this question, like to share a quality or virtues that Mother Earth possesses, that you like to have or you already have. So what is it that you see in Mother Earth and that, you know, okay, this is my quality, or maybe you would like to have this quality. So this is a question for everyone, for the speakers and for the audience. And you have the link. And meanwhile, people are putting on the answers. We'll have a round with our speakers here, and I will ask each of the speakers to relate rapidly, and we'll try to do something here. Let me see if that's possible. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so let's hear from Sister Gayatri.
Well, I think one of the foremost quality in nature is nurturing,
Yes.
nourishing and nurturing. I think we can all witness how since the very moment we are born into a body in the womb
Okay.
of nature.
Mhm.
So nature sustains us, nature looks after us really like a mother. I allow others to speak now.
Yeah, so Brother Basan.
I think that we have a capacity which we not always use to share, to give, and to protect. I mean, this capacity is inherent in every human being, but we don't make use of this power very often. Sometimes we use the opposite of those powers. We want to keep and we want to destroy for personal gains. So this capacity, I think these capacities are there and we have to use them in a positive way.
Okay, thank you. Listen to Maria Paula from Colombia.
Yes, thank you. Hello to everyone.
Hello.
And so I think that was what Sonia was mentioning about hope. I think that's a beautiful quality, and that we have to go beyond what we are seeing now. There is so much noise outside. There is so much things going on. And so the challenge for each one of us is to go beyond and to take some inspiration from Mother Earth, to flow and to just give to others and stop taking, and just give to others, give the best of us. And so I think that's the best contribution to the earth.
Yeah, thank you. We listen to Manoj. You're here?
Yes, I am here. Good afternoon, everyone. For me, hope is to be calm, to be purity, and in a silent world. That's
okay. Okay, thank you. And let's hear from Prishni.
Hello. So I think one of the qualities that nature has is the capacity to adapt. And I think this is something that we should all be instilling in ourselves, especially in this changing world. And as we're seeing the havoc that we're wreaking with Mother Nature, I think we should really be imbibing some of this quality to be able to adapt in this rapidly changing environment. Yeah, so that's adaptability.
Yeah, and I'll ask Martin, are you here? Can you just rapidly share something? Hello. I don't hear you. I don't seem to hear you. I don't know if others are hearing.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now it's okay. Now it's fine. Okay.
Okay.
Good.
So I think one of the qualities of Mother Earth, of Mother Nature, is its nurturing, caring, and protecting like a mother. And I think it's a great inspiring quality, because without this, we won't be there. Life on Earth won't be sustained.
Yeah, thank you, Martin. Hope you're fine. So see you in a while, and we'll come to speakers after some moments. So let's just see like what the audience has qualities. Well, we have lots of qualities here, and like the main was like patience, nourishing, abundance, tolerance, always giving, and we have so many, and this is going to be here. And yeah, I mean, it's good that we can see these things, because what we see is something that's within us. And having said this, I'll now invite Sister Gayatri to intervene. But before that, very important is to understand what's happening in the world. And just before Sister Gayatri intervenes, I'll ask Vasen to explain to us a bit like what's really happening in the world. And because we don't know, we hear so many things, and we really want to understand, like really like have a diagnostic report of the earth. I know you're an engineer, not doctor, but you might be a doctor of engineer. And also like to share some examples of how we can still, you know, like comme on dit, we can reverse the tide. So Vasen, up to you now.
Thank you. So the first thing that we have to realize is the link that we have with nature and with the universe. All the atoms that compose our body are born in stars, which we can see in the sky. The sun is a star. They have been produced in those stars, and they form part of our body. 70% of our body is formed of water. We have some living organisms inside our body, like in our belly, some microbes which live in harmony with us, and they give us the food that we need. They transform the food which we can't transform ourselves, and they work in coordination with our body to help us produce whatever we need for our survival. So the thing is that today, we humans, we are disconnected from the reality. We have closed our mind in a mindset where our priorities have become so important: getting a job, getting money, getting forward with some projects, that we have forgotten the inherent link that we have with nature, with the universe, with the earth, with the water, with the air that we breathe. We don't realize that the moment you come out of the womb of your mother and you get out on this earth, the first air that you breathe comes, 80% of the oxygen comes and is produced by the oceans. 20% is produced by the trees. So what would happen to the human beings if we didn't have these oceans producing this oxygen and these trees producing this oxygen? We wouldn't even be able to be born. If we didn't have this water around us and water forming part of our body, we wouldn't be able to exist. And the problem that we are having today is that our mindset has been disconnected from the vibrations, if you want, of the universe. And the problem is that by doing this, by being disconnected, we are in fact destroying slowly but surely our survival and the nature which has allowed us to thrive. When I'm talking about destroying, it's a question of pollution of the air, pollution of the soil, climate change. We are putting so much carbon dioxide in the atmosphere through our activities that the earth is now warming up. We are polluting with radioactive elements certain areas of the earth. And all our activities, like using fertilizers, using pesticides, and polluting the ground, which at the end of the day goes in the sea. We know that recently scientists have discovered that we have the equivalent of a credit card of plastic in our body, circulating in our body, because we have produced so much plastic. The plastic has gone in the air, has gone in the water, in the soil, so that whenever we eat, for example, some fish, even fish in the ocean, or when we eat some things produced on land, we take in our body plastic which we have produced in the past. So the fact that we have concentrated our mind on profit, on money, on material assets, we are in fact destroying our nature, and we have forgotten this link that we form part of a global system. And whatever we do is going to affect this system. And this system is going in return to cause problems to us because we are not able to continue thriving in this direction. So I think that the first thing that we have to do today is to have this introspection. We have to divert our mind from the daily buzz of the life, the daily buzz of getting money, of getting material assets, but we have to reconnect with nature. And for that, I think that it's very important sometimes at night, you get out and just look at a star, a distant star in the sky, and you think about how this star produced the elements which are today in our body, and how, in fact, we are children of stars because our body is made up of these small particles from stars. That the water which is in our body is water which has evaporated from the oceans, got into the clouds, got through the rain, got through the food that we have eaten, or in the tap that we are drinking in the tap. So this link is important. And as the Secretary General of the United Nations rightly said it, we have to make peace with nature. We have to realize that we form part of the entire system, and we have to get rid of this issue of material assets, of our mind being like in a storm, getting right, left, and center, being disfocused on the reality of things. And we have to refocus on the necessity of us getting back into this system about our role, our duty, and our necessity for future generations. We have to get rid of time, because sometimes when you think about time, we think we don't have enough time to do everything, so we just go and rush in certain things. Time is irrelevant. Life is relevant. Life is something which has to be nurtured, has to be protected in all its forms, be it a small bee, be it a small ant, be it a big fish, be it a bird or an animal. It has to be nurtured, it has to be protected because it forms part, in fact, of this whole ecosystem. This is the miracle of life, and we have to protect it instead of thinking about other things. So my opinion is that what is happening now in our Earth requires a change in mindset. We always say that whatever we think, we have the power to change the world around us, because every action that we make in this temporal area has an impact on our surroundings. Every thought that we have in our head has an impact, a vibration on the surrounding environment. So by changing our mindset, by refocusing on nature, by regrouping our efforts, like all these ants working together to get the food to the group, we have to work together and give a hand to all other people, change our mindset, and to get into the system of producing a new consciousness that we form part of nature and that we need to nurture, protect, and share. And one element is very important. Sorry, just give me 1 second. I have to put the charger from my laptop. It will take 1 second.
Sure, it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. So I would like also to welcome all the people watching us on YouTube, and also some people also watching on Facebook Live. So you're back, so you can continue.
Yes,
now.
Here I am.
Yeah.
So one other element is that we have to be generous. We have to give without waiting for something in return. Do we have to pay for the oxygen that we breathe that is produced by the oceans? No. I mean, oceans produce 80% of our oxygen without us putting money or giving anything in return. The trees produce also oxygen. They give us fruits that we eat. We don't have to pay the tree. We just have to give them a little love, a little water, nurture them, and they will give us some fruits, and we'll be able to survive using these fruits. So the idea also that we humans, sometimes we always think about, we do something, but we need something in return. We need to get a reward for something. So we have to dispassionate all this, and we have to think that nature that we are going to protect is going to give us something back, but we don't have to give something in return. And we have to be to the selflessness, and the sharing is very, very important. Today, we were talking about climate change at the beginning of this conference, and many scientists around the world today have agreed that in order to fight climate change, the best solution are what we call nature-based solutions. We've heard this word around the world. So instead, for example, of building concrete walls to protect our coastlines, we just need to plant mangroves, replant corals in the lagoon, allow the seagrass to thrive, and they will play the role, and even a better role than a wall. The trees filter the air that we breathe. They bring us a clean air. They allow also the temperatures to be lowered down. They play a bigger role if we have trees around us than an air conditioner, for example. So it even goes further than simply tackling climate change, getting through scientific or getting through engineering, which is against nature. Nature is there. And planting a mangrove tree doesn't cost a lot of money. Allowing and protecting the corals and the seagrass doesn't cost you money, it just asks you to care and protect nature. And in return, nature will be this solution that we need to have in the context of climate change, which is really threatening the livelihoods on Earth in the decades to come. So as a word of conclusion, I won't be very long. In the word of conclusion, we have to reconnect with nature. We have to reconnect with nature. We have to refocus our conscience about what is important and what is futile. Life is important. Life is sacred. Life needs to be protected. And we shouldn't always do something to get something in return. We should be able to give, to share, and to protect like nature does, because we form part of nature. And we have to reestablish this link that we have forgotten since we have been formed in this earth. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Arsène, for I would say the holistic approach that you have given us. I was expecting a rather scientific, but you boiled it to, at the end, it always comes to our mindset. And it's very true, because what we are witnessing in climate conferences, we see the more advent of, for example, the presence of faith-based organizations, because these are organizations that really can really empower people to bring change in our lifestyle, in our behaviors. And having given this, I'll now move on to our next speaker. So thank you, Arsène, stay with us. And we'll now invite Sister Gayatri. Sister Gayatri is a coordinator of the Brahma Kumaris Global Peace House, and she's a chairperson of the Brahma Kumaris Mauritius. She has a lot of experience in meditation, and she has been instrumental in leading many projects, for example, introduction of the sustainable yogic farming in Mauritius. And she will enlighten us on a very interesting topic, I would say my nature versus Mother's nature, Earth nature. So, Sister Gayatri, the floor is to you. Thank you very much.
Dear sisters and brothers, children of the Supreme, distinguished speakers, brothers Basen and Manoj, Sister Sonia, Sister Krishni, Sister Maria from Colombia, Sister Marcin. A very, very warm welcome once again, and greetings of a lot of divine love and peace to each one of you. We are having some very enlightened moments together. I have been appreciating what have been said so far. So enriching that it's inspiring me for further insight about the whole theme that we are talking today. The theme is investing, invest in our planet. I would ask myself the question, what should we be investing? The most invaluable, precious, and powerful resources we all have are our minds and hearts, and most especially our thoughts. Our thought power. Thought is the seed of every action. Thoughts travel very, very fast. Within a fraction of a second, they travel from one distance to another across the planet. Thought power is the energy that makes us shift. One seed of thought can generate manifold fruits or thorns. As someone rightly said, the creation of 1,000 forests is in one acorn. I'll come back to this power of thought in a few moments. So now let me ask you to invest your attention and focus sincerely with all our hearts. I'm going to share as an humble instrument of the divine some simple, pragmatic ideas. Lend me your hearts for a while. See, like everyone has just mentioned, we are so highly dependent on nature. Reverently, we call her mother, especially for obvious reasons. We are so heavily dependent on earth for our very existence, survival, sustenance. We take birth, we are nourished, we are nurtured by all the elements, the 5 elements especially. Mother Nature is hosting us in a perfect temple called the body of the 5 elements, the earth, water, fire, air, and space. And we are talking about ecology. The word comes from the Greek ekos, meaning household, home, place of residence. We have 3 places of residence: our physical houses, our body first, our physical houses, and of course the planet which we all share. But then we ask ourselves the question, who are we really? And what is our nature? Where do we come from? After this program, everyone will revert back to your place of residence, isn't it? We're not going to dwell in this physical residence forever. Please reflect. Who are we? Where do we come from? And what is our original nature? Very often in our speaking language, we say, this is my second nature. So what is that original and eternal nature that all of us have? Regarding Mother Nature, all of us have been describing a lot of its beauty, inexhaustible resources. We have witnessed how bountiful and beautiful is nature. Beyond words, there's no word we can explain really. Everything we need to live and enjoy is here. It is providence. Yet it is so sad to reflect that not only have we been using, but misusing, exploiting, and abusing nature's resources in indescribable ways. Today we all know the future of our entire planet is at stake. We are collectively guilty. Somewhere, somehow, we are all responsible. I'm sure you will all agree. Knowingly and unknowingly, we have been tampering with the natural laws governing nature. And the solution, I would say, gladly it is in our hands. In our own natural and equally bountiful nature, we have unacknowledged, forgotten resources, which we have been using to destroy nature more than ever. By our lavish and over-consuming lifestyle, seeking more and more comforts, with detrimental attitudes, behaviors towards life in general. So much so that our planet really is coming to a dangerous position. We are depleting more and more of its resources. We are on the precarious edge of extinction if we do not awake in time. And Gandhiji well said rightly that even now, nature has enough for man's need, but not enough for man's greed. Can we bring a change? That's how we are going to use our own natural resources. How do we go about it? Remember, drops and drops of water fill the ocean. Our individual, collective efforts are absolutely crucial. Where do we start? Allow me to quote a famous author, Ralph Waldo Emerson, who lived in nature and loved nature. He said, "What lies behind us, what lies in front of us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. We are all inventors, sailing out on a voyage of discovery, guided by a private chart of which there is no duplicate. The world is all gates, all opportunities. Who are we then? Who am I? Who is operating through this physical costume of the 5 elements? Who? Obviously, it is not the physical body or any part of the body, not the eyes, not the feet, not the hands. The entity, the I, that animates this physical body is a divine energy. Call it consciousness, call it spirit, call it soul. What lies within me, is it my real nature? Yes, it's my authentic nature. Originally, my resources are eternal, infinite, divine. What are they? They are our innate, inherent qualities of peace, purity, strength, love, wisdom, happiness. Sat Chit Anand. We are truth, we are sentient, we are blissful beings. These are our innate treasures. As the sweetness in sugar, as the coolness in water, they do not come from outside. We also generate just by being aware and conscious. Just like when we awake from a very deep sleep and we start reorientating ourselves in our immediate surroundings, slowly, slowly we recall everything. We do not have to learn, for example, how to walk, how to talk. All our senses are on the alert. So does our divine qualities. And the innumerable qualities emerge in our hearts and allow us to fend and defend, act and interact, perform and enjoy the fruits thereon. Because we have been spiritually asleep for a long, long time, we need to realize that the earth is and it will continue to undergo, is undergoing and continue to undergo tremendous change for some time. Yes, we are passing through the night of humanity. Humanity, night of the world, night of the whole planet. And yet the soul is eternal. Life is eternal. Life is an interplay between man, matter, and God. Life on earth goes through entropic process. We may compare life going through 3 main ages as the 4 seasons in the cycle. These ages are referred to as gold, silver, copper, and iron ages. The gold and the silver ages are compared to the day of the world cycle. Copper and iron ages are compared to the night of the world cycle. Right now, we are passing through a transition from iron to golden, mind you. We are in a confluence where the night is about to end. Very good news. And we are moving towards the day. We are in the dawn of the new cycle. Just like when the sun rises, not everyone witnesses that. Similarly, those who are awakening themselves spiritually witness the light. The light of God is compared to the light of the sun of divine knowledge. Once we awaken ourselves to being eternal souls, through meditation, like Sonia said, we rise beyond the pull of gravity of the earth, allowing the earth to regenerate without our interference. We move into the orbit of God and dwell high above and vibrate the energy of our divine qualities through elevated, noble, pure, and powerful thoughts. As more and more people start meditating, we will experience the effect of what we call the critical mass that will trigger and tip the scale. The earth released will come back on its own axis, to its own original pristine stage, where once again the air will be pure, water will be crystal clear, and the temperature will be like spring, ever-going spring. The soil, the earth, will be full of nutrients, metals, minerals, precious stones, gold, call it silver, call it a diamond. All in all, it is like a heavenly abode where peace, love, harmony, and happiness prevails. So now, once again, let us gather our authentic experience step by step. Let us move surely, gently, lovingly towards new horizons. And it doesn't matter what is in front of me or of us, as long as we know who is behind us. And that one is the Creator, God the Supreme, who is once again sowing the seeds of that spiritual wealth in our mind, in our hearts, through the vehicle of sweet silence, the silence of meditation. Yeah. Can we start meditating? Do we all agree to meditate? I think we are in a group of people who are all converging on the same point. Like when the sun rises slowly and slowly, everybody starts seeing the profile of the world in the light of the sun. So as we allow ourselves to go through this meditation, I'm sure we are going to come to realize together, and like the molecules of water condense and freeze. All of us on different parts of the world, wherever we might be, each and every one of us, we are very, very important and crucial. Every second, every thought of every soul counts. So it's only when we have that critical mass can we trigger that change. So I'm inviting you to have some moment of silence and reflection. And together we are going to add to this critical mass of vibrations, the energy that allow the shifting to take place, to revert back to what the world was in the beginning. Okay? So right here, right now, I'm going to have absolute silence. We're not going to use music. Just reflect on these words. And as an instrument, I'm giving you these thoughts. But in fact, they are all coming from none other than the Supreme Himself, God, the Supreme Energy. We are just His instruments. We just have to allow ourselves to differentiate ourselves from this physical costume, which is very temporary, and we associate ourselves, link, connect, as Brother Vasan said, connectivity. We need to connect to our true self, and that true self, as all of you witness in your own life pattern, that we all aspire towards these divine qualities, these innate qualities that we have been speaking about. So let us start now. So right here and right now, let us gently disconnect our mind from all external and physical aspect of our life. Starting from the body. Then, this physical place in which we are, we disassociate ourselves temporarily from the roles that we have been playing through this physical body. Yes, do it. From the roles, from the relationships, from our responsibilities, from all our physical resources. Right here, right now, let me come to the inner space, the inner universe, or my inner consciousness. Ask myself, who am I? I am the conscious entity, the subtle divine energy, the creative energy that is animating this physical frame of flesh and bones, borrowed from nature to enjoy life on earth. I am the one who animates this physical frame of flesh and bones. I am the one who looks through the window of the eyes, who listens through the ears, who speaks through the mic of the mouth, but I am separate from this physical body. Just like I'm separate from the room in which I am, separate from the chair in which I am sitting. In the same way, I'm separate from the body in which I am presently in. I am located somewhere in between the two eyes, in the middle of the forehead, often referred to as the third eye. I am the energy. I'm pure consciousness. And this is my nature. Yes, my nature is silence, peace. My original nature is eternal, peace. Without peace, I can't even think properly. Peace and silence are the foundation of innovation, creativity. In this world of great upheaval, chaos, it's absolutely essential for me to reach that step, that space and the place inside me, also referred to as the eye of the storm. All my innate, original, eternal qualities emerge as I navigate through this natural silence of the being. And as I dwell for some time in this silence, from the depth of silence, I see my natural qualities, my original nature emerging. I feel the peacefulness, this pure fragrance, softly, gently, but surely emerging from deep inside me and pervading every single cell of the body in which I am, radiating into the room, traveling throughout the whole cosmos. This is the vibration that all of us carry within us. Peace, purity, and yes, divine love that makes us generous. Love, compassion, kindness, and the body in which I have been living, which I have been borrowing from nature for such a long time. Now it's time for me to invest from my innermost nature, deep nature of divine qualities. First of all, to know them, to experience, feel, vibrate. And I'm sure it's vibrating. And all of us together, as we are aligned in our thoughts, we are adding to the critical mass. And immediately our body is feeling the impact. And through our body, it is moving into the whole universe. Yes. So let us dwell for some moment in this silence and try to reach the source of this silence, which is flowing in me. And the source is none other than God, the Supreme Being, who is also equally invisible and subtle energy, the ocean of all divine qualities. God, the one high above, right here, right now, I'm connected to you, the Supreme Being. You are equally my spiritual mother. Mother Earth is the mother for the physical sustenance on this physical earth. But ultimately, eternally, we are your children. So as through silence we connect to you, we can feel ourselves diving into the ocean, allowing every single current, vibration of peace to reach out to you. And deep, deep inside the ocean of peace, I feel myself getting nurtured, energized, refreshed. I dwell for a while in this sweet, silent sanctuary, and I feel you nurturing. I feel myself. I feel full. I don't need anything. Now gently, I slide back into the physical dimension, back into the physical universe. Om Shanti. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Sister Gayatri, for this wonderful experience. We don't want to talk after this experience because we can see that silence is much more powerful and the vibrations reaches far than words and explanations on many things. And indeed, everyone, I'm sure, have felt a very nice experience, and maybe you can write in the chat box how you felt during this meditation. And now I'll invite our next speaker. Our next speaker is Krishni, and Krishni Apadu.
Hello,
Krishni, everyone. And Krishni is really, I would say, an inspiration for the youth. And she organized the first climate justice conference in Mauritius, and she invited the Brahma Kumaris to participate. And she had led many, I would say, youth-led initiatives in the environmental climate fight. And so the question to Krishni is how education, because she's at the University of Mauritius, and education and really in the law, they are evolving to protect our Mother Earth. So thank you, Krishni. The floor is up to you.
Hello, everyone. First of all, I would like to really thank Brahma Kumari Mauritius for organizing this webinar to celebrate Earth Day. And I think, like the other speakers have mentioned, the theme for this year's Earth Day is invest in our planet. And I think one of the things that has been happening really over the last couple of years and even before is I think there's a greater awareness that we need to protect our environment. And with the different environmental catastrophes that we have been witnessing recently, we've seen how COVID-19 itself, it has been there is a lot of scientific evidence pointing to the fact that COVID-19 has been created, the virus, because of the wet markets in China, and how we are treating wildlife and the kind of ill treatment that we are meeting with the wildlife around the world. So I think there's a greater awareness about the need to preserve and really take care of the environment that we are in. And at the level of what is being done in terms of the education field, I think a lot is being done to integrate environmental concerns and the protection of the environment into the curriculum in schools around the world. Maybe less so in Mauritius, but I am aware that, for example, in Seychelles, which is one of our sister islands, in terms of the educational curriculum, environmental protection is being taught at all levels. For example, in Seychelles, even at kindergarten level, at pre-primary level, small kids are taught about, the importance of taking care of Mother Earth. So I think it's very important that in Mauritius also we integrate environmental protection into our curriculum. So far, I'm not sure if we do that, and even if there is some form of awareness, and even if it's integrated into our educational curriculum, I don't think it's enough. So maybe that's something that the Ministry of Education could really look into. But for example, at the level of the university, we have a lot of our undergraduate programs where, for example, we have different components integrating environmental concerns. For example, the University of Mauritius has been investing a lot in making sure that in terms of our programs, even at undergraduate and postgraduate level, we have modules that at least have a component of raising awareness about what are the Sustainable Development Goals. Okay, I'm sure that a lot of you know about the UN SDGs. So, for example, component we have SDGs 13 and 14, especially that relate to environmental protection. We have SDG 13 relating to climate change and climate action, and SDG 14, which is life below water. So at the university, in our programs, either at undergraduate and postgraduate level, we have really been integrating these components of environmental protection in our curriculum in the different modules that we have. So now regarding the law, as someone who teaches environmental law at the University of Mauritius, I have a big responsibility because I am given the heavy duty of training the next generation of environmental lawyers. We do not have, unfortunately, in Mauritius, a lot of our lawyers who are specialized in, in the field of environmental law. But it has been very encouraging to see that since the last couple of years that the University of Mauritius has started having environmental law in our LLB curriculum, we have seen that a lot of our students have been choosing their final year dissertations on the topic of environmental law, which is something really formidable, because this does not only show that they want to further train into the field of environmental law, but it also shows that they care about the environment and that they want to do something concrete about environmental protection. They want to do like solid pieces of research with a focus on environmental law, and which means that they have a solid interest in that area. I would also mention that the law, there has been a lot of developments in the law in terms of how it has evolved to really protect ecology. In the last 30, 20, and the last decade, we have seen, a lot of treaties relating to environmental conservation. A lot of environmental agreements have been concluded at international level. At the level of the United Nations, for example, we have a plethora of environmental agreements that have been concluded. And for example, we have the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. We have the UN Convention on Biodiversity, the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. So these conventions regarding environmental law, they demonstrate the willingness of states, the states who have, which have negotiated and signed and ratified these treaties, demonstrate that there is some form of willingness towards environmental protection. But the problem is that even if the law has evolved in the field of environmental law, what is missing in many countries is that even if several states across the world have ratified these conventions, what happens? These conventions are not implemented in domestic legislations. So what should be done is there should be more willingness on the part of states to actually domesticate and integrate international environmental law in their national legislations. For example, recently the government of Mauritius has come up with the Climate Change Act in 2020, and it took a lot of years. For example, because we had obligations under the UNFCCC and the Paris Agreement, it took a lot of years for us to actually have a Climate Change Act. So for example, in Mauritius, in terms of the gaps that we have in the law, we do not have a legislation pertaining to the preservation of environmentally sensitive areas. And this is something which is very important if we want to have a very rich biodiversity and maintain that biodiversity. So I think I will not be too long because I know that there are other people who will be speaking. But I think in terms of education, there's a lot of progress that is being made. But I think as a country, Mauritius should really, be bolder in terms of integrating environmental education. And making sure that this is integrated in our school curriculums, especially at primary and secondary level. And also in terms of the law, I think that it's good that, we have so many international agreements on environmental preservation, but countries should really try to domesticate and implement these, environmental legislations so that we can move towards, a greener world and a climate safe world. Thank you.
Thank you, Krishni, for having done this expose. And I'm sure you have a lot of challenges ahead in this endeavor, and we wish you lots of success and courage. And I'm sure that you will be able to really bring the law and the spirit of the law to where we want it to be, to that Mother Earth. And, we can all benefit from that. So thank you very much, Krishni, and stay with us. Our next speaker is one of my friends, and he has been in the, I would say, sur le terrain. He has been a planter since the age of 10. And I would say that he has a lot of initiative. And one of the success stories that he's going to highlight now is how he has brought the youth to really embrace the soil. This is my friend, Mr. Manoj Siboran. And Manoj, welcome to our program.
Thank you, Vikram.
And I leave on the floor to you.
Thank you for giving the opportunity to share my experience and what I have done since we are as a farmers. And I will do a presentation to explain what I have done. I have as a farmers, and I have created an organization called Falcon Association. So it's mean Farmers in Agriculture, Livestock and Cooperative Organic Network, which is based at Terrouz, Poipiolet. And here I just say, Khushbu, can you share the screen?
Yes, I'm having a small issue. Vikram, can you give me permission to share my screen?
Okay, yeah, okay, it's okay. I thought Manoj would do. It's okay now. You can do it.
Okay, thank you. And we have started our farm here at Poipiolet Terrouz. We call it Falcon Peace Model Farm, Agricultural Peace Model Farm. And here we have a lot of activities. Since 2004, we are involving in agriculture. And I have already made a lot of experience there to create.
Sorry to interrupt. Can you see the screen?
Yeah, we can see the screen. It's okay.
Okay, is it, I'm moving the slide. Is it working
Yeah,
on your side?
yeah, it's okay, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So I am just saying that we have created this form to have this model form at Committee Lane, and it is for the farmers to know how it's work, what is agroecological, and here we can say I have created many organizations also, because Falcons, it's mean farmers in agriculture, livestock, cooperative, and organic network. Our vision was to take farmers' voice, because in Mauritius we did not have the voice of farmers as such, any organization, and we are affiliated with World Farmers Organization, where I get the opportunity with Vikram to go to the COP, and we have done our success to connect with many organizations, just like IFOAM International, and also World Farmers Organization, FAO also. And here, after creating many organizations, I have came to create a bioorganic cooperative. Also, there is young farmers, Falcon Young Farmers, because I see when we go to the international, there is the voice of youth to be heard in the organization at the COP, even in IFAO and WFO want to have every country representative of youth. And in Mauritius, there was no youth involved in policy making as such. So I have decided to create a Falcon Young Farmers organization, and now it's working very well. We have branches in University of Mauritius, and we have get the opportunity to send two of youngs to the, one was Mr. Rupan, Mahesh Rupan, who has been participating in COP and many conferences at the international level. And there is Miss Kuzbu, now is on the way for the youth to practice for 2-3 years. And here we will see that the youth is very engaged in all these activities. And we have many partners also which have been involved, just like we are working with China and also with Sakao. There is just last week, there is 2 youngs that go to South Africa for Sakao. They are following the course of leadership there. And we have also many international affiliation and also partners. We are affiliated with the Mauritius of Ministry of Mauritius. We are working close with Ministry of Agriculture, Small Farmers Welfare Fund. There's universities, there is many, and there's also our sponsor. We have just received also a fund from MOL for the Southeast region to develop a youth young farmers club there. And we are aligning with SDGs of for food security. There is also, we are doing just like Zero Hunger. We have created the Manger Partager organization, where we share food for poor person also. We have included a new activities at Jeunesse vers la Terre. Why Jeunesse vers la Terre? To encourage the youth to be friendly with the earth, to be to have the food security also, and to do plantation. Because if youth today will be not included in the agriculture sector, I am sure there will be no food later. All the youth is going to be interested in IT sectors, and they are doing a lot of activities such as service sectors. but in agriculture, they are not interested. But here we are involving that youth to that empowering them and capacity building that agriculture is not just like they are thinking to take hand on the earth and dirty, but here is now it's innovative, there is innovation, there is a lot of access to the way of the different way of doing agriculture. Now we are encouraging the youth to go to the agroecological farming because agroecological farming is a new way of farming and a new concept where we can create, we protect the environment and also we protect also the living because in agroecological is more than organic. Because in organic there is environment, there is economic aspect and environment. But in the agroecological there is also the social aspect. The social aspect where the farmers itself they connect with the nature. They will be protect the living environment. So in agroecological system, then we need to have the protect the biodiversity. We need to have bees. We need to have also the microorganisms on the earth to have to protect all this, and also we have to do all the agroecological aspect. And that way we have created the branches, and the university are working. Here we can see the members of our branches at the University of Mauritius. And also we have our national levels. We have the farmers at the national levels that they are working close together with us. And here some conferences that have been, I have talked that have been participated in many international conferences with Webinar, and they are doing the capacity building. Here there is a certification for, we have occasion to participate with Japan, with a cooperative, and we are giving a lot of training also. And here we have some picture of our Falcon young farmers in action. So how these farmers came at our farm and they do the practices. In our farm, we can say we have 38 fruit plants. We have cow. We have also organic. We are doing organic pesticide, and we are doing. Here there is for COVID. We have shared some masks and medical for the. Not only for our farmers, but also the society love kids medicine that we have provided. And we are happy that we can have the opportunity to share also Brahma Kumaris to get this mask, which has been donated by China. And here is a project of MOL, which I have actually in the southern region. Next, please. Here is our activities timeline for the International Youth Transforming Food System webinar. And also there is also the association, Falcon Association, MOU, University of Mauritius, where we will engage youth in global alliance with gymnasium. Also, there is leadership incubators which has been started, and we are going, and so on. Next, please. Yes, here I have recently go to the Rodrigue. There also we are creating a branches of young farmers. We have taken 2 regions as a pilot project. One is at the Port Sud-Est, at Sud-Est in Rodrigue, and Rivière Banane. There is we are working with the RCSS, Regional Youth Council, and also the Commission of Agriculture. Here's two young farmers which has followed the course, has been selected. One from Rodrigue, Natasha Felicity, and other is Viomes Siboran. Next, please. Yeah, here is we have recently the youth, to encourage the youth to be in the part of motivation. So this MBC coverage just on Monday, on Tuesday we have done the coverage MBC, and it will be shown of course in the coming year in the sport channel. There will be showcase at our farm, which has been how youth is developing. Thank you for your attention.
Yeah, thank you very much, Manoj. And it's nice to see that youngs are very encouraged to go back to the field, to the soil. And this is something that we have been, like, you know, we have lots of thought about it, and we wish you lots of success in your endeavors. And now we move on to our next speaker. And our next speaker is Martin from the Mauritius Wildlife Association.
Yes. Hello, everyone.
Okay, Martin.
Can you hear me?
Is,
Can you hear me?
yeah, we can hear you. And just briefly about Martin, that very pleased to welcome her in our program, and I hope you're okay, Martin, because last minute we had some issues, and Martin will be here to talk on something very specific about a success story. She will talk about the restoration of the reptile community on Gunners Point Nature Reserve. So without delaying you, the floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you very much, Vikram. So I'm gonna share my screen. I hope it's gonna be fine to do the presentation.
Yeah, we can see it.
You can see it.
Yeah, you can put it
okay.
maybe full screen. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying. The thing is, like, it's not allowing me to. Okay, slideshow from current slide. Okay, is that okay?
Yeah, it's okay. Good.
Yeah. So hello, everybody. I'm Martin Goder from the Mauritian Wildlife Foundation. We are an NGO that has been active since 1985. And we worked on restoring ecosystems, the natural ecosystem of Mauritius and forests, and also to save threatened species from extinction. So what I'm going to be talking today, it's a bit of one of our program or project that we've done, and just to show how we can bring things back. You know, nothing is gone really forever in nature. When nature is destroyed, there's possibility to bring things back. Okay, and so I'm sharing this quote from Gerald Durrell, who's a British naturalist, and which is something that really, for me, it's very important, because it tells you, oops, excuse me, that, well, the world that we live in, basically, it's like a spider web, okay? Everything is linked together. And when you touch one fiber, you know, it resonates across the whole web. And what we humans are doing right now, we're just not touching it, we're actually ripping whole big holes from the web. So basically disrupting this delicate, fragile, like, ecosystem and nature, okay? So what we're trying to do at the organization, at least I would say, is try to rebuild threads and rebuild things that has been torn. So in Mauritius, we've lost a lot of our native biodiversity. Today, we have less than 2% of our native forest that is left, and due to past deforestation for agriculture, but also because of species of plants and animals that doesn't belong to our island, that we call exotic, that has been brought to Mauritius, and plant and animals, of course, and which has caused a lot of issues as well. So, for example, you have rats is one of the most invasive species. And because of the deforestation and humans have brought these species outside their range here, we have lost a lot of animals. For instance, everybody knows about the dodo. But in total, we have lost 16 bird species from Mauritian Island, 5 reptile species, and 61 plant species that are gone forever. So wiped out from planet Earth because of like human actions. And we have lost a lot, but there's still a lot left as well. And islands around Mauritius, especially in the north and the southeast, are kind of refuge for some of the species that have disappeared from the mainland. They can no longer exist there, but they exist on these islets because maybe there was less pressure, less impact from humans there. And the picture that you see here is the islets in the north. So you have a lot of islands like Round Island, Serpent Island, Îlot Gabriel. A lot of them are nature reserve and they are protected by law. So these islands have unique biodiversity and they hold a lot of the endemic species that have become restricted or have disappeared in mainland Mauritius. So when I say endemic species, basically it's a species, a plant or an animal species that is unique to Mauritius or to the Mascarene Islands. So it's unique to an area. So which means it's found and it's not found anywhere else in the world. For example, all the reptiles that you see on this slide, they're all unique to Mauritius. You can't find them anywhere else. So they're found only here on our island. So on these islets in the north, where I'm focusing on, we have 10 species of endemic reptiles, 12 species of seabirds, and 34 species of endemic plants. And so one of these islets is called Gunner's-Coin, and it's a nature reserve. It's under the Forestry Service, and it's a 70-hectare nature reserve. What happened on Gunner's-Coin is that it was like any other place in Mauritius, it was trashed. You know, the vegetation was cut out, and people have introduced a lot of animals and other things there, and which means that a lot of the animals that belonged there had disappeared. And in the 1990s, invasive animals were removed, and this started to bring back the animals that are unique to the island. And from this picture, you can see at the top, there's Budger skink, you have Bouton skink, you have the lesson-eyed gecko, and Ornate day gecko. So skink are lizards that have claws that usually are ground dwelling, but our geckos, most of the geckos at least that we see on mainland, they like to stay on trees, on surfaces. So all these animals that you see there, some of them, they're no longer found in Mauritius. They're only found in these islands. So once the abundance, when we remove what's affecting them, the abundance started to increase. So we thought, well, let's bring back animals that used to occur in Gunner's-Coin that have disappeared because of men's action. And one of these animals is the tailface skink. It's a beautiful lizard that you're seeing. It's around 31 centimeter. It's endemic to Mauritius. So previously it was found all around Mauritius, but then it disappeared because of habitat loss and exotic species, invasive species, and it became restricted to Round Island, okay? So we wanted to be able to have another population to bring it back to a place where it belongs. And not just for the sake of the animal itself, to protect it, but because an animal has, like I said, in nature, everything is interlinked. So an animal has a specific role. So for instance, the tailface skink is a seed disperser, is a pollinator, a predator and prey. It has an active role to do within an ecosystem. So basically then we moved a tiny population of tailface skinks from Round Island to Gunner's-Coin in 2012 and 2007. So we have, here you can see the map of Gunner's-Coin. And the red dots are where the animals have been released first, and the white and the map below, all the red dots are where the animals have been found afterwards. Because after all these years, now the population of 350 skinks that was previously introduced has increased to 225,000 skinks, which in itself is a good success story. So we bring it back to where it belongs and it's doing really well. But of course, I'm saying that it's not as simple as that. There's lots of work to be done before doing such an endeavor. You can't just transfer them like this, but I won't have time to go into all the details of what's being done for something like this to happen. And when we brought back the Telfer skink, the plant that you see on the right is aloe. It's an endemic aloe. And when we brought back the skink to the island, we saw that there was an increase in the natural regeneration of this critically endangered plant as well. And so basically the skinks was eating this fruit of the aloe and dispersing it all over the island. So by bringing back the Telfer skink to Gunnescoin, so we have reactivated, we have recreated a link in the ecosystem that was missing because this plant didn't have its natural disperser. And so that's something that's really interesting to note. So after bringing back the skinks to Gunnescoin, it was time to bring back another unique animal that was also present on the island. It's our endemic snake. So many people don't know that we have a snake that is unique to Mauritius. Again, it became restricted to Round Island. And the snake that you see here is called the boa, the endemic boa. And on the left, it's a baby, which is orange. And on the right, it's an adult. It's an adult female. And basically, these snake, they are the top predator. So they would eat the skink, especially the big snake would eat the Telfer skink, the one I talked about before, and the other reptiles. So by having a larger population of skink on Gunnescoin, we were able to bring back this another missing link in the ecosystem. And so in 2012, 60 boas were moved, and then in 2014, another 10. And so after moving the boa, we just don't move them there. We have to do a lot of search. So we do night searches because they are nocturnal animals, so they only go out at night. We assess the distribution to see the abundance. We also do health screening as well. And since 2015, we've seen many new baby snakes on the right and many new adult snakes. So the number of snakes on the island has increased a lot. And so it's again kind of a success story, and this is only this was only possible because, of course, before bringing these animals there was no like other animals that could cause a problem to these endemic animals, such as rats. So, of course, all this work that we do, it's not just the Mauritian Wildlife Foundation. We work with other partners and collaborators in Mauritius and abroad. For instance, we have the National Parks and Conservation Service, Doral Wildlife Conservation Trust, and others, and our funders, and without whom we won't be able to really do this work. And I think I don't have much time to talk about more, but this is just an example of how working together, Mauritians, people from abroad, people that funds the project, well, you could eventually come together and bring a positive change. You can come together and mend a little tiny, part of this web that is being destroyed. So I think it's a great example to illustrate, and something it's worth considering when you're celebrating Earth Day. It's like you can reconstruct and you can bring things back. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin, for this very nice presentation. You're a very courageous person. You're handling snakes, and not everyone can do this, but you do it with a lot of love. And I'm sure these reptiles, these insects, these animals, they deserve a place in our biodiversity. Each one has a role. And we wish you lots of success and in your endeavors to restore back the biodiversity. And just stay with us. Thank you. We'll now move on to our next speaker, which is from the other part of the world. Okay, so I'll invite Sister Maria Paula. Just wait a minute. There you go.
Thank you,
Okay, so Sister Maria Paula, bienvenida. Is it okay? Yes. Welcome. And so just a rapid introduction of you. I met you once at the COP conference in Spain, and you are having lots of initiative in your countries, and you are representing the Brahma Kumaris at various conferences, and you're looking after the Instagram, also the marketing aspect. And you have interesting news from Colombia, and a surprise for us. So I won't say more than that, I'll leave the floor to you. So I would say, is it still morning at your place? What time is it?
Yes, it's actually lunchtime.
Lunchtime, okay. So you do your presentation, then you go for lunch. Okay.
Thank you, Vikram. We actually met in Chile, not Spain.
Ah, yeah, okay, yeah. Because the COP conference, I was doing both at the same time. So I always say
Yes.
Spain and Chile, yeah.
Yes,
Great,
and
thank
so
you.
I got a little bit closer to Mauritius. And so thank you. And it's a pleasure to be here. I've been delighted listening to all the speakers. I didn't know that Mauritius had such an amazing biodiversity and that they're restoring in such a nice way. And so for those who don't know, where is Colombia? It's not Colombia, that is in the United States, but Colombia is in South America between Panama, Venezuela, Ecuador, Peru, and Brazil. And so, and at one point in the chat, someone said that if 1 tree per person in Mauritius would result in 1.3 million trees. So I was thinking that Colombia has 50 million of population. So if we would encourage everyone to plant a tree, it will be amazing. But anyway, I would like to share just some of the things that we have been doing here. Not just me, but some of the institutions here in Colombia, and things that I can see in the pragmatic way in daily life. So if there is a country on the planet that has some statistics to show in biodiversity, that is precisely Colombia. And we are, after Brazil and Peru, the third country with the largest territory in the Great Amazon. Our territory has in that region the largest lung. Some of you have maybe listened that we have the biggest lung in the world, with some 60,000 hectares of forest here in Colombia, and it's connected. We are connected with a river with Brazil. And Colombia is the second country with the greatest biodiversity per square kilometer and has 12% of all the species of flora and fauna that exist on the planet. And of these, around 30% are endemic. And so in addition, it has 50% of the paramos, you know, these little plants in mountains that produce water. And we have 50% of the world's moors, and they are mostly precisely in the Amazon jungle. And so we have a lot of biodiversity, and I would like to highlight two initiatives. So one of them is one that's called Manos Verdes in Spanish. In English is Green Hands. And they have this initiative that seeks to take advantage of the used cooking oil to produce second generation biofuels. So we can use that, and I have seen that in the street that we are using that kind of oil for running cars. So its objective is not a drop of oil contaminate water and people's health. So since that 1 liter of used oil can contaminate up to 1,000 liters of water. Another one that is kind of interesting because it connects Colombia with Mauritius, is this Manuelita organization that produces electricity from biomass of sugarcane. Actually, in Colombia, we have a lot of sugarcane production and African palm for 30,000 homes It also generates electricity from the biogas produced by the capture of methane during the extraction of palm oil. So we have seen that. And other thing that I have seen very interesting in Colombia, mainly in Bogota, actually in the capital of Colombia, that is Bogota. I have seen that there is the main gas station in the city. It has these solar panels to run out the station. So it's very interesting. And I would like to connect that with the work that we have been doing in regard of Brahmakumaris. And here in Colombia, we are kind of awakening a new consciousness through the social media, because the youth, and for example, I have connected the three things that are this biodiversity thing with psychologists. I am a psychologist, and how people can express their care for nature through spirituality. And just as Sister Gayatri was saying at the beginning of this program, that she expressed beautifully in the meditation practice, we need to awaken our inner strength to realize that the change is not outside. And there are so many people doing things in politics and so many activists. However, each one of us has that power to remain the things that we have done to the planet. And with Brahmakumaris, I have been volunteering here in Colombia and with many projects along the world, is that I have learned that through some simple practices, we can actually have some impact on the planet. So it's really interesting. And I would like to just add this, that, for example, taking each one of the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals of the UN agenda, we started this initiative here in Colombia of trying to connect the spirituality with each one of the SDGs. And so we have this campaign with videos on YouTube that you can find on the Brahmakumaris Colombia channel, YouTube channel. And we made one video per SDG in 2 minutes, talking about how one can contribute to that specific SDG, because each one of us can do that. For example, the first one, that is no poverty. I mean, it was really interesting, taking into account that the power of thoughts, that was Sister Gayatri was saying, the power of thoughts are such a powerful energy. And as we see, the electric energy, the wind energy, that actually, I don't know the term in English. However, we have this power of the mind that can do wonders. And if we realize that we have these treasures inside, then we realize that the actual poverty begins in our head. So that kind of practices, that kind of realizations, we would like to share with the world. And that change begins from here, from our thoughts. And when we begin to start having good wishes and pure feelings for Mother Nature, for each one of the living beings that are habiting our planet, and when we realize that we have that power and that we can express that through our inner stability, because we have seen outside so many things going on, and every day, every second, we see so much things, negative things. So why don't we go beyond that and start acting, but from an elevated place. This place where we can contribute, protect the earth, and from that perspective, that inner perspective, that change cannot happen if I don't change. And one of the slogans of Brahma Kumari is that it's very much connected with the one of Gandhiji, is that when I change, the world changes. So that has been a very big thing for me, because I can see through the social media and here in Colombia also that especially young people are desperate. I mean, they are hopeless to see the future we are going into, the future that is approaching to us. So we need to have that inner strength that comes along with hope, with hopeful feelings for everyone in the planet. And when we realize that we are this eternal being that Sonia was sharing about before, when we are this eternal being and that we are hardly connected with nature, then we can enjoy, we can observe the things, and then with the power of our thoughts, we can have an impact, a positive impact in the world. And I think that we can start by applying each one of the SDGs, or, I mean, the SDGs are such a practical thing, do you think? We can attain that from Colombia, from Mauritius, from Denmark, from each part of the world, and we can start by simple things. I mean, I think in every country they are reducing the plastic use, and we have seen how very slowly we are approaching to a better future, but we need to like boost, you know, that energy of the planet that activists are making. You know, I was watching, maybe some of you know, we have this little boy, his name is Francisco Viera, and he's just a little boy like Greta Thunberg. He's smaller in age, and he has this view of the world. I mean, he's like an adult child, and he has this view of the politics of the world, and he says that we need to change now. And he asks, I mean, he has this strong position regarding to the politics. And he says that we need all of you, all of the people of the world to start doing something right now, because that is the planet that you are living as. And that is just, I think he has like 10 or 11 years. So we, from each place or each country, we can contribute, but first from our thoughts. So I invite you to keep practicing, to keep imbibing what we all have hearing today, and continue this amazing work. Meditate helps a lot to focus, and in meditate you can send a lot of good vibes to the world and nature. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Maria Gracia, for all these wonderful experiences and sharing from the other part of the world. And we have almost come to the end of the program. We have gone a long way above our schedule, and now we have the roundup. So I'll now invite Sister Gayatri to just round up and say some words to all our distinguished guests here.
Om Shanti. Om Shanti means greetings of peace. I'm really grateful, much thankful and grateful to each and every one of you for having shared your time, your ideas, and especially the energy of your heart. We could feel it. We could feel it through each and every speaker. You have been giving the best of your sacred duty that all of us, owe to this Mother Earth. And I would say in the end, we are going to thank also the mother, the father of all of us, and that is the Supreme Being, who is the ocean of all the divine attributes, which ultimately we have to recourse to those divine attributes. Because whatever we have been able to perform through this physical body, whatever skills, whatever talents, whatever activities we have been carrying out, they are all there because of our innate qualities. If we have not been investing our divine qualities of peace, concentration, love, dedication, none of us would have reached where we are. So therefore, we have to acknowledge the qualities, the innate qualities of the spirit, and come to the consciousness that we are spiritual beings. And it's high time to blend the spirit and the physical. And how we are going to do it, the key word is consciousness, awareness. As soon as we become aware, all our qualities will come under alert. And that's the time. It's high time now for us to reinvest those divine qualities into our activities, to every single thing that we are doing, thinking, working, performing actions. We have to be human beings before we become human doings. So thank you really deep from our heart. We thank each and every one of you, all the participants, especially from our dearest speakers, distinguished speakers. Really, you have been distinguishing. Okay, so thank you. Om Shanti.
Yeah, Om Shanti, thank you very much. And we have come at the end of the program. And at the start of the program, we had put a nice clip. So I'll just put this clip again. I don't know if you have watched it because it was before 8. So having said this, I'll just put on the clip and thank you very much. And we'll see you soon. And tomorrow is Earth Day, so happy Earth Day to everyone. Earth Day should not be only one day, should be every day. Every day, let's celebrate Earth Day. So having said this, so I now put this. So we'll leave it with this nice song. This is a song dedicated for the farmers. Yeah.
Tihi gori gazili alokai kumigo totolo tolo. Nana kumigo totolo, murto nai polo, murto de polo. Ana samote kai le bolo, bolte boilai. Tenoni samote kai le bolo.
Plant your dreams in the soil, water them with love. Living in harmony is only natural. What an amazing gift this is, to be conscious and choose to do what's right. We got to stand up for life. Everybody together, together. Time to make it right. Time to make it right.
No more looking back. Times have been dark, but only so we can see the light. Now we've learned together that nature knows best. She's everything we need.
What an amazing gift this is, to be conscious and choose to do what's right.
Okay, thank you. Good night. We are closing the meeting.